Hi guys, welcome back to ASP.NET MVC tutorial. I'm Ashish. So this is part 38 of this video series. Before proceeding, please watch part 37 in order to implement such functionality in ASP.NET MVC. Okay, so now in this tutorial we will be discussing about attribute routing in ASP.NET MVC. So let's get started. MVC 5 has included a new type of routing which is known as attribute routing. Attribute routing uses attributes to define routes. So here in the following example you can clearly see that we have used route attribute to define our routes. Okay, attribute routing gives you more control over the URI in your web application. Okay, so we will see it practically and get to know how can we get the advantage of this attribute routing. Okay, so first of all you should know about how to enable attribute routing. Okay, so by using map MVC attribute routes extension method in route config file you can enable it. Okay, so first of all we will just enable that attribute routing. So here you can find your convention based routing. Okay, so just evoke to this map route extension method, just write routes dot map MVC attribute routes. So here you have successfully enabled your attribute routing. Okay, so now question is that can we use attribute routing with convention based routing? Yes, we can combine both and we can get the advantage of both. Okay, so now in this tutorial we will be covering these topics, and before moving to that I would like to give you some basic example of this attribute routing. Okay, so let's move to the controller, and here there are three methods right now, but I want to create some simplest method so that you can easily get what is attribute routing and how to use it. Okay, so write public string, let's say get student. So this is my method, and return, let's say all student record. Okay, and create another method, pass ID, okay, so student with ID equal to plus ID. Okay, now you can use attribute routing here. So use route attributes and write student. So this would be your URI pattern. Okay, and here also you can copy that, and let's change the pattern and pass ID. So if you use this in curly braces, then this ID would be anything. Okay, so let's run this and let's see what's gonna happen here. So here you go, and if you notice that by default my index method has been executed. Why? Because this is following the convention based routing. You can see that by default the default controller test controller and its method will be executed. Okay, so that's why my index method get executed. Okay, now I'm just trying to pass this student and then student ID. Okay, so slash student. Now here you can see all student record, and then just pass any ID. Let's put a breakpoint here, and let's say 25. Then second method would be executed. So here you can see your ID. Okay, so student with ID equal to 25. Okay, now let's move to our objectives. So the first is optional parameter and default value. Okay, so let's stop that. I'm creating new method with different URI pattern. Okay, let's say student slash name slash, it could be any name, and let make it string name, and then return name and student with name. Okay, so this is my another pattern, student name and name. Okay, now let's run this. So I'll just show you why this optional parameter is necessary and how this could be helpful for you. So here you go, and now I'll just pass this name slash, and I'll just pass Ashish. Okay, and you will see that my latest method has been executed. So student with name equal to Ashish. Now the problem is when I don't pass anything. Let's say here, when I don't pass anything, then it will give me an error. Okay, so to handle that, just make it an optional parameter. So just put a question mark here and run this. So in this way you can make it optional. So now this time you will see that this method will not give any error. Okay, now let's refresh this. Okay, so student with name equal to null, and here you can pass anything. Let's say John. So student with name John. Okay, now I'll just show you how to set the default value. Okay, so you have just make this optional. So to set the default value, you can just pass this Ashish. Okay, so I have just set the default value. Okay, in this case, if I don't pass any name, then by default, let's put a breakpoint here and let's see. Okay, okay, press enter. So here you can see I have not passed any name, but the name is, the default value is Ashish. Here you can see, and continue, and student with name Ashish. So I hope this first point is covered. So optional parameter and then default value. Now the second point is the route prefix. So you can use route prefix at method or at controller label. Okay, so here if you notice that we have used the student. So student is common in all method. Okay, so this could be act as, you know, route prefix. Okay, so to use route prefix at controller label, you can use this attribute, route prefix. Okay, so I'm just using home as a route prefix. Okay, so this could be, you know, slash, let's say example, this will be home slash student. Okay, this will be home slash student slash, let's say, id. This will be home slash student slash name slash either null, or you can pass any name, John. Okay, so this could be like this. And for this method I'll just show you. Let's run this. Okay, so here you go. So by default index method has been executed. Why? Because it's still using this convention based routing. Okay, and if you notice that if I put home slash student, then this method will be executed. Let's first only home slash, so it will give me an error because default value has not been set. Okay, and here I'll just student, then all record will be displayed. So I think this method will be executed. Okay, and if I pass any id, then this method will be executed, and I'll get this method. Okay, so just pass any id 52, and you can say student with id 52. So student with id equal to parameter. Okay, now let's stop that. Now I'm just going to discuss this default route. Okay, so you can use default route at controller label, so I'm just going to use that default route. Okay, so use this route, and inside that now you can pass action. Okay, so notice that we have just make it optional, not optional. You can pass, it could be any action. Okay, so you can pass index or side menu or get student. So this could be this. Okay, so if you want to make it default, means any of them, then you can just equal to this, use this index. Okay, so I have set the default value. Like if you notice that I have just set the name equal to Ashish, so like this I have set the default action equal to index. Okay, now notice that the root is applied on all the action method present in this controller. Okay, so this could be example home slash index. Okay, and then home slash side menus, then you can apply anything. Okay, and this will be home slash student. Okay, it's all right. Now let's run this, and this time you will get an error while loading this, because here we are just overriding this convention method and it's not going to be work. Okay, so let's see. So here you go, you got an error message because we have not set the default value, and also we have just override this convention method, and now this method would be accessible through this, like just write home slash index. So here you go, and now if I want to do this, so home slash side menu. Okay, so this method will be executed. and here we can also use student. So okay, so all student record. So in this way you can set the action equal to your default action. It could be any action. Okay, and if you don't pass any action, and the advantage is that, let's say I have just passed this home only. Okay, so default method would be index. So let's enter. So it just goes to index page. Okay, because we have just set action equal to index. Okay, now move to our fourth point, that is route area. So you can also provide the route area for this controller. So this could be route control space route area, and you can write anything like let's say my area is city. Okay, so all method will be accessed through this, let's say city slash home slash index. And if you notice that you have used this into global sx file, you have just used this area registration class. So this could be successfully removed. Okay, so let's try this, how it could be accessible. Okay, so slash home. Okay, so it will load index page. Oh sorry, now this you should use this area city slash home. Okay, now the default method will be executed here, city slash home slash index. Okay, okay, so in this way you can use route area, route prefix, then you can set the default action, and here you can make it nullable, you can make it optional, or you can set any default value. Okay, now let's try the fifth point. So route constraint. Okay, so route constraint let you restrict how the parameter in the route template are meshed. Okay, so you can apply any restriction over the method. Okay, so here are the list of constraint. So let's say you have int, so you can just match whether it contains the int value or not. So I'll just show you an example so that you can be able to apply. So let's undo all this method and let's use only one method. Okay, so I'm using this, let's say string example. Okay, and this one is student slash id, and let's say student name. Let's make another example. Okay, so this is id, and now I'm going to put some constraint here, so it should be int. Okay, if the id is int, then this method will be executed, and if id is a string, then this method will be executed. Okay, and let's remove this. Okay, now run this. Also you can apply multiple constraint by separating through this colon. Okay, so suppose id colon int colon, you can use this another constraint like maximum will match an integer with a maximum value like this, maximum of 10. Okay, so index slash, let's say what is your method. Okay, so this copy that and paste it here, and now slash. Now I'm going to pass an integer value and then a string value. Okay, so put a breakpoint here. So when I pass, let's say 25, so it's an integer, so this method will be called, and continue. And now let's pass Ashish here, then this method will be executed. Okay, now stop that and let's try some another constraint. So I'm going to use multiple constraint. So here I'll just use, let's say, minimum 2 and colon maximum 10. Okay, so I have just put the constraint, it should be integer between 2 to 10. Okay, now let's run this. So here you go, and slash student slash, let's say, pass a value between 2 to 10, let's say 5. So my first method will be executed, and I'm just taking the value greater than 10, let's say 11, so it will call this second method. Okay, and of course when I use this 10 also, then this should make it maximum 10 value, and I have just set. Okay, so condition is matched and this method will be executed. Now let's take 1. So again minimum value is 2, so 1 is not applicable. Okay, so in this way you can apply any constraint given here. So you can use max length, so it matches a string with maximum length. Okay, so it should calculate the length of that string. Okay, so you can put this like this, max length 10. Okay, so here is the list, you can apply any of them and get the advantage of this attribute routing. So hope it is very interesting, and it is interview, it is very important question in interview, and every interview is going to ask this question, what is attribute routing and how it is going to be used. Okay, so I hope you understood this, and I'm done here. If you like my video, then give us a thumbs up and share this among your friends to help them too. Okay, thank you very much, have a great day.